In the quiet corridors of West Africa, where River Gambia cuts through a nation, a silent force was rising. He didn't come from power. He wasn't born into wealth. He wasn't handed a seat on the table. He built the table, brought his own chair, and took the entire room. Where most people see the Gambia as a sleepy tourist heaven, he saw it as untapped territory. Where others waited for opportunity, he created it. He carved it out and built around it. This wasn't just a success story. It was a blueprint for domination. It's a business story with no boardroom politics or flip-flops, just focus, hard work, and bold strategies. This was the story of Mohammed Jah, the man who didn't just enter industries, he invaded them. He didn't ask for a piece, he took the whole pie. And in a country where permission is currency, he became the machine that prints it. But to understand how a young man rise from nothing and rewrite the rules of business in the Gambia, you must first understand the battlefield he fought in. To truly understand Mohammed Jah, you must understand the ground he walked on. The Gambia in 1980s and early 1990s was not built for ambition. It was a nation stitched together by colonial residue, functional but very fragile. The economy was very small. The infrastructure was outdated and technology virtually non-existent. A computer was something you heard about in books. The internet was a rumor from the West. Government offices relied on typewriters. Schools taught without resources. And young people, they either left for Europe or settled for survival. Entrepreneurship skills existed, but only in the form of trading rice, soap, second-hand clothes. Taking risk on many of these businesses was frowned upon, and failure was fatal. It was in this atmosphere of scarcity and hesitation that Mohammed Jah was born. But unlike many of his peers, he wasn't just restless, he was relentless. He saw opportunity in what others call chaos. And he knew that if he was going to build something big, he had to leave, study the world, and come back with weapons the country didn't understand yet. In Sierra Leone, Jah was not just a student. He was a sponge absorbing everything the modern world had to offer. While others were cramming for tests, Jah was decoding the architecture of progress. While classmates were copying notes, he was sketching out a system. While they celebrated passing grades, he was quietly mapping out markets. Electronics, telecommunications, system integration, and many more. For most, these were academic hurdles, boxes to tick on the way to diploma. But for Mohammed Jah, they were weapons. He saw in every single transistor a possibility, in every network a new form of power, in every failed experiment a key to the future. He wasn't only learning to survive in the classroom, he was preparing to rewire the destiny itself. Jah understood something his peers did not, that the world is shifting, and nations that fail to master the shift or the code to technology would be left behind. Sierra Leone gave him more than knowledge. It gave him vision. It taught him how empires are no longer built with armies, but with cables, satellites, and ideas. And so, when he finally returned to the Gambia in 1990s, he carried more than a degree. He carried a secret map, a master plan. He came home not as a graduate, but as an architect with a blueprint that will tear down old walls and build a new future, brick by brick, circuit by circuit. Before QuantumNet, there was Quantum Associates, a brotherhood of visionaries determined to drag the Gambia into the digital age. In the early 1990s, Jibril Kaur, Yusuf Abba, Jalaman Jabate, and Mohammed Jah began with nothing but borrowed classrooms and borrowed time. At the YMCA training school, they offered free IT lessons. One-man tech army. With every single transaction, he built trust. With every delivery, he built reputation. And from this hustle in 1998 came QuantumNet, the Gambia's first private internet service provider. He wanted to connect the Gambia. He took his own leap. With no office, no showroom, no support, he opened a business from the boot of his car. One computer at a time, one sales at a time. His strategy was brutal. It was simplicity. Don't wait for the market, open the market and create a market. He sold, repair, install, and taught. At Gambia High School, they hosted a one-day workshop that overflew with students, teachers, and dreamers. Their mission was very simple: make technology accessible to everyone. They weren't selling gadgets, they were planting seeds, skills, confidence, and a future. But Jah wanted more than training. QuantumNet didn't just compete, it dominated. Jah understood what most Gambian companies did not. Technology wasn't just a product, it was an ecosystem. He secured deals with international tech giants, built a nationwide distributed network, launched an institute to train local IT professionals. He filled every gap in the tech value chain. If the government needed computers, he supplied them. If the companies needed network, he built them. If schools needed trainers, he trained them. By the early 2000s, QuantumNet was not just an IT provider, it was the IT backbone of the Gambia. But Jah wasn't just interested in success, he was dedicated to scale. After conquering tech, he didn't slow down, he accelerated. His business strategy spread like a virus, leaping from one industry to the next. First comes the telecoms. When others hesitated in the high cost and high risk in the tech industry, Jah made the boldest move of his career. He created QCell, the Gambia's first 3G mobile operator. Overnight, he shifted the nation from a dial-up modem into the mobile age. It wasn't just another company launched, it was a revolution in bandwidth, mobility, and digital freedom. Like Jeff Bezos, Mohammed Jah began with nothing, just determination, vision, and a belief that market would be built from scratch. Bezos sold books from his garage. Jah sold computers from the boot of his car. Both men understood early that success wasn't just about single product, but about creating an ecosystem. Amazon became the backbone of global e-commerce, while QuantumNet became the backbone of Gambian ICT. Where Bezos expanded into cloud computing and logistics, Jah expanded into telecoms, finance, automobile, TVs and radio stations, and more. Each move was relentless, calculated, and transformative, turning a small hustle into an empire that reshaped an entire nation's economy. By the time most people realized what was happening, Jah's fingerprints were already in their phones, their homes, their offices, their loans, and their cars. His reach was no longer local, it was systemic. Then came real estate. While competitors bought houses, Jah built infrastructures, high-value properties, commercial spaces, and business hubs, structures that became the physical backbone of his empire. In finance, he entered with precision, microloans, fintech platforms, and investment ventures that reached into the very bloodstream of the Gambian economy. Where banks failed the small man, Jah positioned himself as the alternative. He didn't just ask for what was allowed, he asked for what is possible. Every move was calculated, every new venture a declaration. If I entered this industry, I am not just coming to participate, I am coming to the top. He wasn't just networking, he was colonizing. To dominate an industry, you must control its labor force. That's exactly what Jah did. He knew imported machines meant nothing without local hands trained to use them. He built QuantumNet Institute of Technology, QIT, not just as a school, but a factory of talent. Here, young Gambians who had never touched a computer learned to code. Others became system engineers, architects of networks, data managers. Young Gambians trained at QIT weren't just ordinary graduates. They were shaped by the technology itself and powered by the ambition. A new kind of workforce, tough, innovative, and ready to transform the country. Through partnership with other institutions, the Institute offered courses that transformed classrooms into launchpads. His graduates didn't just get jobs, they became the human capital powering every sector QuantumNet touched. These weren't just employees, they were soldiers in his business arsenal. And by training them himself, Jah built a workforce that think, work, and expand like he does. Efficiency, relentlessness, and loyalty. With dominance came praise, and with praise came paranoia. Some saw him as a savior, a man who dragged the Gambia into a digital age. But others whispered he was too powerful, too embedded in too many key sectors, too ruthless with competitors. But Jah knew the truth of West African business. In a weak economy where margins are thin and corruption creeps, power isn't luxury, it's protection. He stayed away from the media. He doesn't need validation. He rarely gives interview, avoid headlines, and move in silence. When critics attack, he doesn't clap back. He moves forward, always and in silence. He became harder to reach, admired by some, feared by others, but never ignored. Today, Jah's empire has outgrown the Gambia. Jah has become more than a businessman. He is a regional force, a machine disguised as a man. In a country where most entrepreneurs wait for permissions, he never waited. He arrived, he built, and he dominated. Mohamed Jah is not a businessman you invite. He is a businessman you prepare for. This is his story. This is his empire, and it is just the beginning.